What's up guys, welcome to Daily Refinement. My name is Chris. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's episode, I want to talk about the pain of starting completely over. I'm no stranger to starting over. About 1 year ago, I was suspended on eBay, and I have a video going over what happened exactly, but essentially I could not provide valid invoices for collections I was purchasing of shoes. So all my items were authentic, sent them in eBay authentication, everything passed. However, at that level of volume, I was doing about 5,000 per day. They want to know exactly who is providing you those goods. So anyway, I had to start completely over. And if you guys have watched my journey, I've started over a few times. I actually currently have 3 incomes that I built up from scratch. And today I have 7 different things that I did in order to do that, because most people are trying to build one livable wage to live on. For me, I always know there's always the chance that you might lose your job. So if you have these 7 skills that I'm talking about in today's video, you'll be able to start over even if something happens to you. So I've already been planning ahead for something like this to happen. So hopefully these skills can transfer over to you. Also, I'm very excited that I'm relaunching the podcast. So this episode will be designed so you can listen to it in the car, on your commute, and it'll be available on Spotify, iTunes, anywhere that you can find a podcast. You'll be able to find these episodes. So please subscribe there, download it, leave me a like or subscribe. Let me know how that's going for you, because a lot of people listen to content in different formats. So I'm excited to provide it everywhere and designed to be a great listen-only experience, all jam-packed with the best information I have that I've learned along my journey. So please smash the like button, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys in the show. Number 1, let's start with why we do this to begin with. So I actually pulled my Facebook group, which has over 2,000 people in it, and asked them what is their why behind doing this. So here's a screenshot of their different whys. Let me know in the comment section below what is your why for doing it, but I'll give you a sample vision. Most people want to be respected in their field. So if you're an expert in what you do, you're really good at selling water bottles, all the water bottle sellers in the world respect you. People want that. Number 2 would be making a certain amount of money that people can live. So let's use like $1,000 per week as an example. And this is kind of unusual to me, but I asked my audience, how many hours do you want to work per week? And most people actually cap it at 20 hours per week. So that's essentially 4 hours a day, weekends off, Monday through Friday. So essentially you would work from 8 in the morning till 12, call it a day, and you'd make $1,000 per week. In order to actually do that, you need to make $50 an hour times 20 hours a week, and that's how that works. I was able to do that. There's another video I did where I filmed the entire process of shipping, customer service, photography, listing, putting everything back, and it took 41 minutes to do 10 items. So if I did that for the full 2 hours, I would actually have that. I would make $1,000 per week, including sourcing, in 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and have the weekends off. So you can actually build that if you have the structure actually built, but you have to think about, what is it that I really want? And I guess the most strange question that I had when going over this in the group this morning was people were saying, what do I do with that extra time? And I was thinking, that's like a first world problem. Like, I'm done with my work so early that I have the rest of the day and don't know what I want to do with it. But it actually was pretty revealing, because if you don't know what you want to do with the time, Murphy's Law will extend how long it takes you to do the task to the whole day. So you don't want that to happen to you. You want to get done as soon as possible, because if you work for yourself, you're always going to have emergencies. You're not going to really have paid time off that you didn't work ahead. So in my opinion, you want to get done with your work as soon as possible. And I'm a big fan of the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. And this guy built a 9-figure business and was still done by noon, so he could hang out with his family the rest of the day. I'm a big fan of work-life balance, but I think a lot of people forget the work part. It's usually not life-work balance, right? Most people aren't doing whatever they want, and at the end of the day, they do their work. I recommend doing all your work in the beginning part of the day. Wake up, knock out the 4 hours of work you need to do, take the rest of the day off. So number 1 is really important. And I think if you don't have a strong why, you don't have enough reasons to do it, you'll never make it, because being an entrepreneur is a very lonely road. It takes a long time, a lot of work to develop the skills to actually be able to do it in 20 hours a week. So the joke is always like, the people who want a 4-hour work week, that the book that Tim Ferriss popularized, those people who want the 4-hour work week end up working 80 hours a week to get that. And then once they get it, right? So for me, as an example, I can do this, but I choose to work a little bit more because it's fun. I like building businesses. I like value. I like providing jobs. So usually people who are able to make $1,000 in 20 hours usually work a little bit more, but it's for fun. So I think it's a bit of a difference between working because you need to and working because you find it interesting. All right, number two, this question is the most common. It is, how much money do I actually need to get started? Now, a lot of people, including me, get caught up in being fancy or buying all the latest equipment. They want to start working out, so they buy all new gym clothes. That's actually not important when you're just getting started. This is the single best tip I can give on my entire channel. I can give you all the information in the world, but if you do not have an intimate relationship with your customer, you don't know what your customer wants, what they're willing to pay, what's important to them, and you won't be able to deliver a product or service that they actually want. So developing an intimate relationship doesn't actually require any money. So if somebody needs something, they'll actually prepay for the item to deliver. If somebody said, I really need a massage, and you were to say, is the massage from working too much? Is it from your job? Is it from exercise? Is it sports related? You figure out exactly what kind of massage they need. You don't even need to be the person that is the massage therapist. You could just connect that person with the massage therapist and charge a fee, and you just made your first dollar in a business that's online or in person. Essentially, the intimate relationship with the customer is the only thing you need to get a business started. And a lot of people think they need stuff, but really you just need one customer to get started. All right, guys, this one's a doozy. You might want to pause the video and get out a notebook, but I'm going to combine 3, 4, and 5 into one giant step. And it's essentially, what do you need to learn? What do you need to do? And establish a baseline for how long it takes to do it. So the components for any business are essentially product research. So this is, what are you selling and how do you actually find it? There's the customer service. There's the shipping or fulfillment part. There's photographing the item, and there's listing the item. These are essentially the components of how you actually sell something to someone. So there's gonna be a gap between what you know now and what you need to know to actually do that. So in a normal situation, you actually get an apprenticeship. So you work underneath somebody that already does that, and you just do step by step what they do. And over the course of 1 or 2 years, usually you become certified in that specific skill. If you're gonna be a doctor or a lawyer or a photographer or a plumber or an electrician, they all have that required time that you have to be underneath somebody learning how to do it. With reselling though, it's kind of interesting. You can kind of do it however you want to do it, but you can save a lot of time by finding somebody that's already streamlined a lot of the processes. So as an example, I've learned most of what I learned from reselling from a gentleman who online is tech and sports. At one time, he had 50,000 items in his store. He's now retiring, but he was selling over 1,000 items a day and learned a lot along the way. And for me, that saved me literally decades of mistakes because I just skipped doing all the wrong things and learned how all the different pieces work together. So I kind of joke that I was taking some toddler training, and what happens is you're trying to get your toddler to do something and they say, no, I'm not doing that, right? And essentially what you need to do is connect the dots between what you want them to do, which is the desired behavior, and the consequence of not doing that. So the example that I watched in the video was that it's cold outside, you need to wear a jacket. And the kid doesn't get it, starts screaming and yelling. And in this situation, some parents put their kids in timeout or spank their kids, but that has nothing to do with the consequence of being cold outside. If you were to take your toddler outside with the jacket and say, okay, no jacket, let's go outside. If it's cold, the jacket's right here for you in case you need it. You go outside, if your kid can connect, okay, it's cold, jacket, I'll be less cold. It makes more sense than in a warm room telling your kid that you need a jacket and they have no idea what you're talking about and it's not cold inside. So a consequence of understanding every single part of your business and why these things actually work together is the difference between some people copying somebody and not being successful versus understanding why things are done in a certain order, why things are done this specific way. If somebody were to ask, why do you do customer service before shipping? That's a great question, and you would find out the reason that you usually do customer service before shipping, because a customer issue might need to be solved before you actually ship the item out. If you ship the item out first and later somebody says, I need to cancel, I'm going on vacation, I won't be home, or I want to combine that with another one, or any kind of question or issue that came up, if you had resolved that before shipping, you would have avoided a huge amount of problems. So not asking why and just doing it blindly is the main reason why resellers fail, in my opinion, because they say, oh, I'm doing it like daily refinement, I did this. But if you do it in the wrong order, it's like super not what I'm doing. So if you just do it in the right order, it's going to save you guys a tremendous amount of time. So it's important to ask why. So these three things work together. What do I need to do? What do I not understand? And how long do each of these tasks take? So in our group, we highly recommend you video yourself taking photographs, upload it so we can see how you do it. A lot of people say they can't do flat lay on the ground because it hurts their back, but that's generally because they're getting down to the ground, up off the ground. When we do flat lay on the ground, we actually don't get onto our knees. We do it from a standing position. So if you need to adjust it because of something with your body, we can make those adjustments once we can actually see it. We can figure out how long it's actually taking you. So if it takes you 5 minutes to take a photo this way, and we make a tweak and now it takes 4 minutes, that's the baseline of what you need to actually improve. So one more story from a gentleman in our group named Isaiah. He was always asking, how come some people in a work day can make $1,000 and other people can only make $40? Same day, same industry. Why is one person making 25 or 50 times more than the other person? And they're just getting more output per hour. So the hack, the way to doing it faster, is to fully understand what you're doing every day. If you don't know what you're doing all day, there's no way that you can actually improve it and look at the difference, because you can ask that person that's fully dialed in and they can tell you everything about their day, down to what socks they're wearing, what hat they're wearing. Did they use the bathroom in the morning or the evening? Did they pack their lunch? There's so much that goes into making $1,000 a day versus if you hang out with people who are making $40 a day, you don't need a routine for that. You can work whenever you want. So what you need is what you do versus what they do to compare the activities that happen in a day. I think that comparing yourself to others is kind of silly when you look at it results-wise. But if you look at it activity-wise, what are you actually doing all day? What are they actually doing all day? To me, that's inspiring. Number 6 is establishing how much money you make per sale. So this is one item. How much did you sell for? How much did you pay for it? How much did it cost to fulfill? How much were the platform fees? How much do you have left? This is so important. Most people in their reselling journey, they've been doing this for 20 years. They have no idea what they make on a sale. They've never figured out the fees. They don't understand the percentages. They don't know how to ship economically, the cheapest way to get it from A to B, because they've never sat down and looked at one transaction. So this sounds crazy, but the way to go fast is to go slow it way down, sell one thing, figure out how much money you make, and ask yourself, how can I sell this faster? And can I do this exact same thing again? So on this channel, sometimes I get some pushback because people, they're like, I want to be an everything seller. It's fun to go out and find something different every single day. I don't want to be stuck in one area. Stop boxing me in. Well, here's the thing. This exercise, which is tip number 6 of figuring out how much profit you're actually making, you have to start over. If you pick a new industry, a new item, a new widget, a new category, you don't know how much it costs to ship, store. You have no idea how long it takes to photograph, list, pack. You don't know which item specifics are important to the customer. And I feel like I don't want to start over every single day. This video is about the pain of starting over. It's always painful starting over. I've never started something new, and it's just the most exciting thing ever. I would rather, the actual definition of passion is wanting to do something again, right? So you did it, it was awesome. Are you gonna say, you know what, I never wanna do it again? That doesn't make sense. If you find something that's awesome, you wanna do it over and over again. So that's why setting a baseline for one item is so important, because if you know, I paid $10 for this item, I sold it for $30, after all the dust settled, I made a $16.35 profit. If you know that, $16.35, if you find that item again, you know in your head, if I buy it for $11, it's $15 profit. If I buy it for $12, it's $14 profit. And you can start to analyze if it's worth your time or not. Otherwise, if you never do step number 6, you never know if it's worth your time or not. It's always a gamble. Let's get it and see what happens. And I think that if you really want to work for yourself, live on your own terms, you can't have the let's see what happens attitude. You need to have the this is how it's gonna be attitude. So that really helps knowing what's gonna happen day after day. I think a lot of people are confusing what I do with not having fun. Not having sales is not fun. Having a whole bunch of sales is usually really fun. From my experience watching people who average more than 10 sales a day, they are having a blast, because that means You're having sales, which is a transfer of energy from one person to the next. When you do that, right, you transfer your energy from one person to another one. You have a happy customer that says, thank you so much. I've been looking for this for a long time. You have it. Thank you so much for a great deal. Thank you so much for shipping quickly. Thank you so much for accurately describing this. Wow, this item is better than I thought. This is an amazing sale. You did such a good job. I'm gonna come back next week and see what you found. That's totally different than, wow, this was packaged poorly. It arrived late. It's worse than I thought. Wasn't described very well. Pictures are of a different item. No returns. I'm screwed and I'm stuck with this. I'm gonna tell all my friends and never shop from you again. So different. So I'm telling you guys, all the fun comes from delivering a great experience to your customer. All right, guys, tip number 7 is staying accountable. This one is major. So if it's not on your calendar, to me, it doesn't exist. I recommend a listing goal of one item. Schedule it so it happens the same time every single day to make it easier to remember. Just one item per day. Stay accountable. It's easier for some people to stay accountable to other people. So in the morning, I have a mastermind call with other resellers. I've been doing the same call since 2017. I think I've only missed 2 days in 6 years. So I'm very accountable to other people, maybe more accountable than to myself. I think the best goals are like, I want to retire my spouse by the end of next year. So imagine you go into your shower, you write on the shower door, I want to retire you by the end of 2024. That's my goal. This is how I'm going to do it. And then every single day, you go into the shower and you update the goal. I'm 2% done, 4% done, 6% done. So your spouse, you, your friends, your family are all on the same page of what you want. Staying accountable is massive. Next is schedule, right? So you want to stay accountable. I recommend keeping the same schedule every single week. For me, it's a little bit more complicated with the family. So my Monday through Friday is the same, but my Saturday and Sunday are completely different. So I actually have 3 different schedules. That's why I recommend you have a weekly schedule, not a daily schedule, because it's really hard. But I want you to actually factor in how long it takes you to do things. And if you have a schedule written out, this is the best part. You no longer have to think. You can just wake up and say, you know what? I have a 9 to 5 today. Wake up. People usually show up to a 9 to 5 at 8:59. That's just the habit of doing that. They've already built it in. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to show up at 8:59. When you work for yourself, it's exactly the same. You have to have a schedule. If not, what happens is, what should I do next turns into an 8-hour thing. Okay, you need to know exactly what you're doing next, have it all written out. And then finally, you definitely, if you want to take it to the next level, have a real life accountability partner that's doing the exact same thing as you. I actually made that resource. It is called the Reseller Nirvana Podcast Group. Our Patreon is listed below at patreon.com/resellers podcast. I co-founded that with my partner Tech and Sports in that endeavor. And over the years, over 60% of people who have joined for life. It's kind of mind-blowing, the retention. So everyone in there is rowing the same direction. We're all in the same boats, going to the same destination of live life by my own terms, do whatever I want, with whoever I want, whenever I want. What resources do I need? What do I need to learn? Everybody has the exact same goal. So when everyone is doing that, it's a super, super powerful thing. And it's like, if you want to get in great shape, only hang out with people in great shape. If you want to build a reselling business, hang out with people who are only doing that. And it's going to be easy because everyone is doing the exact same thing. There is no distraction. I think the most powerful part in our group is that we don't reward people who miss their goal. If you miss your goal, you say, okay, this happened, family came in from out of town, right? And I wasn't able to reach my listing goal. People will give you advice on what to do. What we do reward is somebody saying, hey, I had some unexpected family show up, but I actually have a 2-week draft bank. So my unexpected aunt who showed up from Oklahoma stayed with me for 10 days and it did not mess up my business. I was already prepared. That we give a golf clap to. If you miss your goal, we remind you to make sure you plan for the winter, because winter is coming. There will always be a reason you can't get your listing goal done, but if you take a break and your income takes a break, that's a huge problem. So everything I do here is trying to plan ahead because I know something will always come up. So hopefully this is useful, guys. It really is painful starting over, and I don't want anyone to go through that. I've been through it a few times, and I don't wish that upon anyone, not even my enemies. So appreciate you guys. Until next time, make progress daily.